back to the Robezoid channel. I'm your host Mark, and welcome to Taking a Test Drive Thursdays, where every Thursday pick and choose a fragrance that I haven't really spoken about on my channel and go a little in depth here. So today we are test driving on the brand of Stéphane Humbert. It is a brand that I did sampling samples on this brand like early Mark, like cringe Mark, like several years ago, like when they first started this brand, even before this thing. I did a bunch of samples. Don't go watch them, it's cringe. But this one right here called Mortal Skin, and it is the start of the snake collection. I don't think he wanted to make a collection out of this line. I really feel like Stéphane really this was going to be a one-off, but it did so well. I remember when they first launched this, in the years after, it was always out of stock. Like he almost couldn't keep up with the demand of this release. So this one, a quiet hype train on YouTube, I'll be honest. There's no real big hype. There's no free bottle brigade on Mortal Skin. It was just quietly good. And it was one of those that I wanted from the get-go, but I was kind of late. Like I got this bottle back in 2019. I got it split, and that happens once in a while in my journey, as I split something that is a 50 ml bottle, and I kind of regret that. I'm like, oh, 25 mils isn't going to get me too far with this release. But I wear this mostly during the fall and winter, so it's okay, and it's really strictly for certain things, and I can't wait to delve into this one. So let's get into Mortal Skin. Let's go under the hood. The release date was back in 2015, so it has some years behind it. The nose, of course, is the brand founder, and the nose, Stéphane Humbert. Huge portfolio now. It seems like he's been building his portfolio quite a bit. So the brand has been getting a lot of traction lately, especially with this kind of lineup with the little snakes in front of them. The major notes to my nose, Apopanax is big in this release. Actually, you know what? There's a big three, but I'm gonna kind of go through. Sandalwood is a quiet, a quiet killer in this release, if that makes sense. It really is, it smooths out the fragrance, and it really is, it takes time to really develop and figure out that sandalwood is actually a big piece of the build in this release. But the big three are Apopanax, you're going to get that resinous, you're going to get some balsamic qualities out of this release, but it's not big and bold, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about this one. Blackberry, which is huge in this. Like some fragrances have like these berries listed and they last for a little bit. Not in this one. This one, it kind of goes with this inky accord, and that's the third one, is ink. The ink, no idea where that's coming from as far as the note breakdown goes, but absolutely astonishing note in this release. So it is my scent of the day today. I'm living with it. I'm loving life, and I am going to waste a spray for all of you, but I'm going to put it on my skin just to remind me of this introduction. The bottle is outstanding. Beautiful bottle, beautiful presentation. And Mortal Skin starts us off with a very unique, and with niche fragrances, there's unique, like big, bold, crazy, no one wants to smell like that. Animalics, barnyardy ouds, sécrétion magnifique, really artsy stuff. And then this goes in that unique territory, wearable. I really think this is wearable, a unique, dark, syrupy purple hue. That's where it's bringing me. Like, I know this bottle's black, and that inky accord is definitely a huge piece of this release, but the purple hue is just that blackberry. It's not quite dark, but it has a little bit of that dark purple, a little bit of color to it. So it starts us off with a blackberry inky accord here playing together. the fruitiness and the inkiness and the resins and the balsams and all that that's going to come through with the woods and everything. The blackberry in here is your X factor. This thing is absolutely outstanding. Now it reminds me kind of the role of the blackberry in Jubilation 25 by Amouage, which you all know I love that fragrance. This is where it goes. Unique concept, yes. The inky accord makes the blackberry really stand out, and they work really well together. And the blackberry is not only the fruit, but there's some green surrounding. I'm getting some green nuances here, perhaps galbanum in here. I'm not too sure, but the opopanax comes into play as a third wheel now. And that's where everything just melts together. And those three stay throughout the release, to be quite honest. And the opopanax gives us that rich, earthy, balsamic quality that we know and love. There's some woody nuances. There's definitely some woody nuances in this release as well. It really is that ambery fragrance that we love. Like, we want something that is ambery glow. This has that. The resins, the balsams, absolutely crazy. There's some minor spices in the opening of this one to play along with the main idea, including some spicy saffron and some sweet cardamom. But again, they're fairly minor in this release. Really, it's all about the blackberry, the inky accord, and iris, which is going to be coming through too. But yeah, and then of course the opopanax, the resins, the balsams, the labdanum, really is that dark hue that I absolutely love in fragrances. So that whole introduction gives me everything I want. You know, if you're a big follower of mine, you've probably heard me say that give me a berry note with ouds or resins, or, you know, give me a fruity nuance with these really big, bold, resinous balsamic qualities. I really want something like that. And this is almost like that reference point right here, that it does really well together. Now there's darkness in here, of course, but oh, there is some light nuances in here that they balance so well. And this is an ode to the nose. It really refrains this fragrance of being a powerhouse. It's more balanced. So you're not going to get, and we're going to get into that projection, longevity and all that, but this is not one of those. This is a more of an intimate setting type of fragrance. Very romantic to a frag head, I would assume. Yeah, it's not powerhouse. There's iris in here that shows its powdery aspect. It's not cosmetic at all, but it does give a powdery aspect. Definitely shows that floral tendency, but it really just smooths out the scent. So don't think this is highly floral, but it really does mesh as well as this fragrance, to me, really goes unisex. But the smoothness in here, the iris and also the sandalwood smooth out the whole composition, while the big, bold balsamics and resinous touches continue to throw themselves at your nose. So there's that balance that I absolutely love when a perfumier does this. There's also a sense of ambergris in here, which it gives a mild salty vibe, and I'm going to get to that later on in this review, where that takes me, but almost making the inky vibe make me think of an octopus rather than a snake. But it really does give me that imagery of, there's a little bit of saltiness in this release. There's a little bit of an ozonic quality in this fragrance. Not aquatic, don't get me wrong, not aquatic, ozonic, light, but there is a little bit of that saltiness in there, and it can get lost in translation depending on your nose. You may just get the blackberry, the inkiness, and the resins, and I wouldn't blame you in the woods, because those are major factors, but there's very much that light hue, that salty hue that makes me think almost octopus type. There's always a small touch of smoke in this release as well, very light on the trigger as far as the smoke goes, but again, for a fragrance head like me, that's what I want. I do like my big, bold, smoky fragrances, but here it is restrained. The labdanum is a big part of this, and it gives this fragrance, of course, that ambery, balsamic quality, as well as leathery touches. So you're gonna get some leather in here that is gonna elevate more the more this thing is on your skin. There's quite a bit of woods here. as well. Sandalwood is that true X factor here, but there's also cedarwood in this release as well. It goes well with, there's also like a light greenness in here, like a dried herb kick. I get that in the opening. I get that also in the mid of this release. So there's some green nuances, Artemisia-like, Galbanum-like, almost in that factor. I don't think those are in the note breakdown. I may be wrong, but there is something green in here. Also to note, I do get some dried nutty nuances as well. And the scent comes off fairly airy with such rich, big, bold notes and such complexity that it comes out fairly light. And a lot of people poo-poo this release because of that, that it's not a heavy projector or heavy release. But for me, again, going back to close quarters, romantic piece for a frag head, that's where this goes. And the one piece of this fragrance that I keep trying to dig and to find is there's a little nuance in here that's metallic, inky quality. Now the ink is not hard to find, but there's like a metallic quality that almost goes squid-like to me. Earthy soil meets watery ink. It makes me think kind of medieval times to me, like earthy castle floors with the woods, making me think of, you know, paper, but like brown paper, not white paper, not this industrial stuff that we have now, like just like a handwritten note with the brown paper, the ink blotter sitting there, and it's not daring. I wouldn't classify this as daring. I think it's just right there, especially if you're just starting into niche, or you're not into the big funky stuff like I am. You're like mid-tier niche head, we'll say, that you're starting to explore a little bit. I think this would be like something that would really hit that spot for you. Now, once I get into the deeper dry down of Mortal Skin, this one goes more into, well, first of all, big surprise, the blackberry's still around. This thing should have been long gone. It's still there. It's attached to the hip, to that inky note. Those two don't go very far, and I mean by the inky note continues throughout with the blackberry. They don't, one doesn't go without the other. The woods get more prominent in the back end here, so do the resins, so do the balsams, hence the berry kind of gets a little sweeter here. I felt, you would think the berry would be much sweeter. No, it's almost kind of like gothic berry, like almost dark, juicy. It's not even juicy, like it's almost dry berries, but the ink kind of gives it some watery aspects, if that makes sense. Now in this back end, the berry gets kind of sweeter to my nose. The leathery nuances amp up. At the end of the day, this reminds me of Jubilation 25. And I don't mean that from, scent profile. I don't mean that in power. I mean that in blend. And it's an ode to both Amouage Jubilation 25 because it's a damn masterpiece. But at the same time, it's an ode to this release. This is the first Stéphane Humbert Lucas release that it really meshed well with me. The blend is outstanding. There's so much going on in here, and it is extremely well composed. Now it's time to put the kids to bed, because I'm going to tell you what this makes me think of. So I'm going to give you time to put the kids to bed. Anybody 18 and younger, earmuffs. So this fragrance doesn't bring me to a snake. It does have, it has a dark, seductive imagery to me, this release. Let me smell it again. Okay. Here's my imagery. Think of a lover of yours. It's going to be a female for me. Makes sense. She left you a note. Handwritten. Very rare these days. I appreciate that. Handwritten note, yeah. The woods you smell in this release is that paper that I'm talking about. Not just any paper, it's brown in hue. It's been through. It's freshly done. It's not industrial. It's very much old school handwritten note. It's got that brown hue. It was written with a fountain pen. Black ink, spilled a bit, right? A little sloppy. The contents of the letter, we can't speak about in this video because, well, you know, Google pays me. I need those Google checks. All right, so kids are watching. It's dark, right? You got this letter. Let's say you're at home. It's dark and it's a little cold in the home. There's candles everywhere, wax dripping off the candles. They've been there for a while. She's been waiting for you. Okay. You follow what the note reads. Basically, the point of it is come to the bedroom. Okay. You see your lover surrounded by candles in this room. More candles, tons of them. Wax, yes. Melting. She's been waiting for you. You notice she's dressed in leather. You smell the leather. The wooden bedposts. You can smell it in the air, her salty skin. She's wearing a light iris-based scent, but she has taste and fragrance, so that iris-based scent has some resins and balsams to it. It's niche, it's upscale, and seductive at the same time. She comes closer, and she brings her hand close to you as you smell the ink on her fingertips. There's blackberries beside her. She takes a few, eats them in front of you. She's pretty damn close. She lets the juice drip just a little bit from her lips before she kisses you. Sexy, seductive, mysterious. It's hot in here. Let's take a break. All right, we're back now. Kids, you can come back. Let's finish this one off with, of course, seasons, day, night, versatility, and performance. Seasons, fall and winter, day or night, definitely a nighttime scent. Again, I'm picturing this thing for just romantic, you know, date night for a certain somebody. Seductive. It's close quarters, right? I mean, and we're going to get to performance, but mostly nighttime. This is one of those that even though I only have like probably 20 mils now, we'll see, I lost 5 mils since I bought it. It's one that I don't wear often. And it's not because I got all this behind me. It's one of those that it's special in a way. Yeah, it's one of those. Versatility, below average. Again, I don't wear it too often, and it's not because it's not a great scent. I do wear it for personal use, you know, just, you know, I enjoy this scent personally, so I wear it from time to time. Yeah, this type of fragrance, I feel like it's just for certain something. And 50 mils will do you good. This is not a signature. Well, it could be, but I don't think it is. Performance. This is where a lot of reviewers just kind of go, not good enough. We all don't have to blow the doors off. I don't know. And I understand you're paying a premium price. This is expensive stuff, especially because you're only getting 50 mil and you're paying the premium price. A lot of people expect certain things out of their fragrances, but at the same time, there's other frag heads out there that, of course, they're not going to buy unique niche fragrances. They want to buy something that's more utility based because they're spending so much. So there's all kinds of scents for all kinds of people. And this performance-wise longevity, there's no issues here. You know, it's a little light on the trigger, 7 to 9 hours. Would I like this scent to last 12 plus? Of course I would. But for what it is, 7 to 9 is going to be fine. Projection is average to below average. It's more of a date night. It's more of a romantic evening type of scent. 7 to 9 hours should be fine. And again, it's a seductive fragrance, so it's something that I want to bring somebody closer to me. And sometimes they do have to get close to smell this really. So yeah, I feel like a lot of, I don't know, there's just that inner romantic in me that this kind of brings out a little bit. So my final thoughts on Mortal Skin. Hey, first of all, when we talk about niche and unique, we always talk about wearability. Oh, it's not wearable, right? Ségrégation Magnifique, Leather Oud by Christian Dior, or Frédéric Malle Oud based scent. This is a very wearable, unique scent. This is for the real noses out there. It's not big and bold performance-wise, but there's a lot in this little bottle here. It lacks in performance, but it does not lack in complexity or seduction, or it really just does well. This is a highly unisex fragrance. I can definitely see a woman pulling this off. It almost has to be, you know, a classy woman, and one that has an air of mystery to her. This would work so well, that she has a dark side, like classy in the boardroom, you know, the rest of that. And this is for the men out there that are serious about scents. Like, this is a serious scent. But again, shirt and tie type of guy, you know, business during the day, but at the same time, I'm going on a date, and this is the type of scent that I want. A little bit of seduction. Excellent release from Stéphane Lucas. 100%, absolutely love this stuff. My only regret is that I only have so much of it. I'm done now with Mortal Skin. Je suis fini. It's time for you to hit us up in the comments below. You love it, you hate it. I absolutely love this thing. It's gorgeous. Yeah, I absolutely love it. So I can't wait to see what your comments are. And again, it's okay for you to say, hey, performance-wise, this thing didn't do it for me. Or, hey, Mark, I didn't get this inky thing, or whatever it is. I absolutely love the various comments on my channel. Please don't hesitate to again, I don't need cosigns in the comments below. You can cosign me all you want. I'll give you a fist bump and I'll be like, hey, way to go. But other than that, great scent. I highly recommend, if you're trying to start off smelling this brand, this might be the one I would recommend to start off with. And at the end of the day, Greater Port fragrance will make a lasting impression. Whew. Choose your date night scent wisely. That's a good tip right there. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.